Hey everybody, welcome back to Goodale Farm. I'm Peter. Today I'm taking a walk, my morning walk through the forest, and thought I'd bring you along and share some of my observations. So hope you're having a great day. Thanks for tuning in. We just got a few back-to-back rainstorms, and here it is early June, and the good thing is I'm on well water, my part of the community, and I just love seeing big pools of water and heavy rain, because I know it's going to replenish the aquifers down deep in the earth. So sometimes you don't appreciate the rain, but obviously plants need it, wells need it, animals need it, you name it. And I expect in the next week or so we're going to see a ton of growth in the foliage and the plants. You got the warm weather, and now with the plenty of moisture, we'll see growth, and also a lot of mosquitoes. That's somewhat of a downside. Pine trees are one of my favorites. I think it goes back, when I was a kid, we had this program called Indian Guides. It was somewhat like a program like Cub Scouts, but before you did Cub Scouts, you did Indian Guides, and you had to come up with Indian names. And my dad was Tall Tree and I was Little Pine, so maybe it goes back to then. But anyway, on a pine tree, it just amazes. You could see the growth. You see these shoots in the late spring, and that's all new growth from this year. Pine trees in this part of Connecticut, or at least northeast, the white pine is a very common tree. They're great for providing privacy and cover. Unfortunately, the wood is very soft, so you'll see a lot of old growth pine, but a lot of the branches fall off during the heavy snows of winter, because the wood is just not capable of carrying that weight. But the good news is these things grow easily, a foot, maybe two a year, and there's always a leader for most trees, but certainly on pine trees, they'll naturally have a leader at the top. And even if that leader gets cut off, a new growth leader will start. So farmers who actually grow pine trees for Christmas trees, etc., you'll see them trim it into the pyramid type shape, and then up top oftenly cut the strong leader, because by cutting the strong leader, it forces growth down below, but then it will naturally form another leader on top of it. So if you do have a pine tree, whether it be a white pine like this or a spruce, and you want it to generate more growth, feel free to cut the leader off, especially in the late fall, or you could do it really any time. But if you cut that main leader off, and then you cut some of the sides that are growing out heavily, that will force other growth. So just a little tip. Yeah, so here's an example of an old growth pine tree. God, this guy's got to be 100 years old. Let's just call it that. But as I get closer, you can see, obviously it's very big. The trunk, right here, I'll call that 3-4 feet wide. But you can see, look at this big limb that fell off here. Another one fell off here, and as you go up, you'll see other remains of the limbs that have fallen off. So when this thing fell off, that's got to be 2.5 feet wide when it connects the trunk right here. So the amount of weight that must have been on that branch, I guarantee it happened in the winter time. Usually either early winter or late, when the snow is really heavy and wet. You'll see a lot of these pine trees losing their limbs. Anyway, so what we got here, this big guy. Pine trees also come in male and female variety. So here is a good picture of a male cone. It's not your traditional pine cone as you would see. Your traditional pine cone that you see like laying on the ground is actually the female cone. but these male cones are the ones that produce the pollen spores. So if you have a lot of these in a community, and there's one part of my neighborhood that we have pine trees galore, and if you hit it just right, meaning, you know, there's a particular day or group of days where it's hot and these spores are ready to release and the wind blows, it looks like it's snowing outside. I mean, it's really, really heavy stuff, and breathing that stuff in is no fun, especially if you're walking or running. But anyway, I mean, pretty interesting stuff. Here we have male cone. And I guess generally I'd say I'm just fascinated by evergreens. Certainly pine trees are cool, but here we have an evergreen, some type of pine, I would imagine. No idea what kind it is. I know there's apps or something you can take a picture and it will tell you what it is, but this one just recently came out with its needles. You know, this one, I believe, although I called it an evergreen, I think it sheds its needles. So some of these do shed. I know there's cedars that shed, and maybe they don't go entirely, but here we have new growth on these needles. Pretty neat. Here's a close-up of this coming off of the trunk itself. Oh, really fragile or very slight needles on this guy. Nature gives us some hard dilemmas sometimes. This past week I noticed down here these birdhouses over here, there was a crow sitting on top of one of those birdhouses, and a combination of bluebirds and sparrows were like dive bombing on the crow, because the crow was trying to get inside the birdhouse, obviously for the eggs or the young hatchlings. I don't know what it was, but like, what do? You know, the crow needs to eat. You know, it's kind of cruel to see him go after the young birds. I mean, I was working at the time, so it was not like I'm going to do anything. But anyway, he eventually flew away. I don't know what actually happened. I haven't gone down there to check it out, but one of those situations. All right, dilemma number 2. Got to drain the water off the pool cover. And way over here we have this guy. It's a frog that I'll try to scoop out and get him out. That's an easy issue. But as I'm looking, I got a whole bunch of tadpoles. All these black spots are tadpoles. So the frogs obviously laid their eggs. We got just a swarm of tadpoles in there. I'd hate to just dump them out on the lawn. So I think what I'm going to do, I have my pump here. The hose is, you know, fairly decent, and on the other side of this fence here is a catch basin, and that catch basin runs a pipe of sewer underground, all the way underground, and it empties out to the pond way down yonder. So you know, I'll do my best to get the drainage hose into that grate and sewer, so at least whatever I catch up has a fighting chance. All right, good news, the hose is able to reach, so I'll just snake that in there, and then down, I don't know if you could see inside there, there's a white pipe that leads all the way down to the pond. So I think we're in good shape. All right, Murphy showed up and said I wasn't following his law. So he applied it, and you can see part of the hose fell off and is under the grate. So I have to lift this grate up, and for anyone who's ever lifted a sewer grate, you know those suckers aren't light. They're pretty heavy. So let me lift the grate up, grab that hose, reattach it, I have an extra splint here too, so I may use that. Put it back into place and get back into business. Okay, pretty happy with how that turned out. I was able to get the majority of certainly the water and the muck. I mean, there's some leftover stuff, but I even scooped up some of the pollywogs that were, or tadpoles, that were kind of clustered, and it's a combination of eggs and just muck. Able to scoop that up with the net and bring it over to the catch basin. So again, give it a fighting chance. We'll see what happens. I mean, they may go down in the pond and the bass and the fish will end up eating them anyway, but you know, that's what they call circle of life, I guess. Okay, my friends, pine trees, pool covers, tadpoles, guitars, Cadillacs, hillbilly music. You never know what you're gonna get on my channel, but hey, thanks for tuning in. Hey, that last reference, if you're not a country music fan, Dwight Yoakam. Guitars, Cadillacs, hillbilly music. Check it out. Good tune. Anyway, hey, thanks for tuning in. That's my Saturday morning. I got to go inside, probably grab something to eat, grab something to drink, maybe shower. I don't know. The day's just starting. Hope you're enjoying yours. Bye.